This is Locked On Bets, the daily betting show that means business from the Locked On Podcast Network. Hosted by Lee Sterling and Kevin Rogers, they're dropping fearless picks with an inside edge to put money in your pocket. If there's action, they've got the lock. This is where smart bets start. It's Locked On Bets.
Welcome to the Thursday edition of Locked On Bets. And we appreciate you making Locked On Bets your first listen of the day here on the Locked On Podcast Network. Kevin Rogers and Lee Sterling of Paramount Sports with you. And guess what? There's NFL tonight. Several games, not just a Hall of Fame game. You have 3 games tonight. So we'll talk about the Raiders and the Seahawks coming up in just a little bit. Also hit on UFC Fight Night. And also, by the way, we had a 2-0 night in baseball. So we'll tell you about that as well. But let's begin, Lee, with the blowout special in baseball.
Oh, boy. Last one out, turn off the lights. This one's a blowout.
Light day in Major League Baseball. Only 2 games this evening. The Reds and the Pirates, one of them, Paul Skeens in the mound for Pittsburgh. Also the Marlins and the Braves in Atlanta. And these teams going in opposite directions. The Braves just got swept by the Brewers. Marlins playing well. They knocked off the Astros coming off a good homestand, and now they go to Atlanta. And we'll see if the Marlins can stay hot. So, Lee, what do you have with the Fish and the Braves in Atlanta tonight?
So when I first looked at the schedule, I'm like, 2 games. They're going to price Miami here at minus 130, minus 140. I'm not going to find anything. And then the lines came out, and Miami is minus 110. So, yeah, they had a couple rough games after sweeping the Yankees, but that's to be expected the first time they've ever swept the Yankees. They came back in the game yesterday, won that game convincingly, and now they hit the road. 11 games, and they're still in the wild card chase. So give the entire organization credit. They didn't trade off, some of their star pitchers. I mean, they could go into spring training next year with 8, 9 potential starters, and they could trade those guys and get some hitting. Their star pitcher, the guy they envisioned him being just like he is now, is Yuri Perez. 2.70 ERA in his 10 starts this year. Hitters are hitting just 166 against him. On the other side, Atlanta, 4-14 their last 18 home games. So, I mean, it kind of reminds me of the early 80s. I don't know if people remember that when, TBS first started broadcasting their games, and there would be old Fulton County Stadium where they played the football and the baseball games. There'd be like 5, 7, 8,000 people. I wouldn't say there's that few of fans because they built such a huge fan base. But the crowds just are not there. Their entire lineup is in an absolute slump here. This line should be minus 130, 140 with Yuri Perez. I'm going to take the Marlins here. This is going to be a blowout special.
And also, too, one note on that Marlins-Astros series, Lee, that Houston was swept by Boston. So, the Astros would be a little bit motivated in that series. So, yes, you had the fallout of the Yankees series and then the Astros coming here. But the Marlins ended up winning the finale. So, we'll see what they do against the Braves as we continue with another pick from the Marlins-Braves matchup.
To find a diamond in the rough, you need to dig a little deeper for those hidden gems.
So Lee Sterling going for 7 consecutive player prop victories. He hit again yesterday with Mookie Betts. He did the double time with Mookie Betts the last 2 days. And Augustin Ramirez of the Marlins. We'll see what he does tonight against the Braves. So, Lee, what do you got with him?
You're hot when I'm getting DMs and I'm getting emails and texts like, can you tip off, to me early, what you have on the player prop? So, I feel good about this one here also. So we're taking hitters who can drive the ball. And the Marlins, same game, have Augustin Ramirez, the catcher. Now, he's not great defensively. Saw him play a couple nights ago. He's got some work to do there, but they put him in the lineup almost every single day. Why? Because he can hit the ball and drive it. 34 extra base hits versus right-handers this year. And who's he facing? Carlos Carrasco, who's 2-2 with a 5.68 ERA. And Carlos is probably feeling pretty good about himself. He had in his Braves debut, and he's right up there. They're all equally bad, all their starters right now. He allowed 7 hits in 6 innings. That's a good start by his standards. But how has he done in Truist Park in Atlanta? Well, 3 career starts, 0-2 with a 9 ERA. So you got a batter here in Augustin Ramirez who drives the ball just like Mookie Betts. He only had 1 hit yesterday, but it was a double. He drives it, doubles, home runs time and time again versus another bad Atlanta Braves pitcher here. We're going to go with a hidden gem. Marlins, Augustin Ramirez, over 1.5 bases.
You forgot to call him by his formal name, Carlos Carrasco. Bag of baseballs.
Yeah, that's right.
That's what he got traded for. No, and it's funny that he started that wacky game against the Reds last week, the game where Atlanta scored the 8 in the top of the 8th and Cincinnati scored 8 in the bottom of the 8th. Obviously, Carrasco's out of the game at that point. But, yeah, he was a decent pitcher at one time in Cleveland, and then it's like a lot of these guys, they just lose it. So we'll see if the Marlins can keep it up. And like we mentioned before, Lee, with the your streak right now, beat the streak in a sense. So far, 6 consecutive wins on the player props. Mookie Betts yesterday came through, just 1 hit, but he had a double against the Cardinals in their loss. So I guess you take that. 1 for 4, who cares? You get the 2 bases. That's all that matters.
Yep, that's why we're not going with guys that are punch and Judy hitters like myself. So I only had 1 career home run, believe that, in 5 years starting in high school. So I know what to stay away from, guys like me.
Yeah, and luckily we cashed on the other pick, the A's Nationals first 5 under. Can't get easier than that, Lee. 0-0 through 5. Washington ended up winning that game 2-1, but I was monitoring it in the 5th inning. The A's have the bases loaded, and I said to myself, "You're not going to do this, are you? You're not going to hit a grand slam in the 5th and a Washington scores in the bottom. It's going to be 4-1. And you're like, come on. It was 0-0 through 4, but thankfully the A's grounded out to end the top of the 5th and the Washington scores. So we got that. So 2-0, we'll take that. Nice bounce back. Obviously, the other pick we're waiting for, the Ravens and the Colts, which is tonight. And I know we'll get to Raiders Seahawks in just a bit, but yeah, we're finally back with football, Lee. Very, very excited to get to the NFL. We've made it all the way to August in 3 games tonight.
Yep, and a lot of lines moving. And we're seeing some lines where one team is favored by 2.5 points. Now the other team's favored by 4.5 points. We're seeing some 6-7 point line movement. So it's going to be dependent, on how the player rotations are set out. And I think I got a real good angle on the game we're going to play tonight.
Yeah, the Pete Carroll Bowl coming up, the Raiders and the Seahawks. Pete Carroll's return, Geno Smith's return to Seattle. We'll talk about that. Also, we have UFC Fight Night, a WNBA pick. All of that is straight ahead. Very busy Thursday right here on Locked On Bets. Let's talk now about Monarch Money. And ever wish managing your money felt easier? With Monarch Money, it can. Whether you're growing your savings or planning a big purchase, Monarch puts you in the driver's seat. It's like having your own personal CFO, giving you full visibility and control over your finances. Monarch Money is more than a budgeting app. It's a complete financial command center. You can track all your accounts, investments, and spending in one place. So in addition to managing your money, you're also building wealth. Stick to your budget with these tools. Monarch Money has a flex budget system, allowing you to save for big goals. Also, you can modify your groups and categories that suit you at Monarch Money. Also, you can flex budget when expenses change from month to month, or you can use fixed budgeting when you know what your expenses are going to be. Take control of your finances with Monarch Money. Use code LOCKEDONNFL at monarchmoney.com for 50% off your first year. That's monarchmoney.com, code LOCKEDONNFL for half off your first year. As we roll on here, Locked On Bets on this Thursday, Kevin Rogers and Lee Sterling of Paramount Sports. We transition to Lee's favorite sport, the WNBA.
To find a diamond in the rough, you need to dig a little deeper for those hidden gems.
Just a sidebar, Lee, before we give out this pick tonight, and we talked about before the show, that Man, you talk about just getting squeezed and squeezed and squeezed. I feel like I've been getting squeezed in all these WNBA games. Had Seattle a few nights ago up 5 with 2.5 minutes to go, laying a half point, and they trailed by 1 to Minnesota. Just all of them. That's just got to get one of these easy. We can't get an easy one. They're all very tough right now. All
you need is one to start turning the tide. So doing this, going on my 32nd year, Kevin, I've been there before. I know how you feel. Like I said, you get one, you win a close one, and then all of a sudden you start feeling good about yourself. And, sometimes also just want to give some of the people who are listening a clue. If you're not feeling good, sometimes when I sit down and I can go for like 8-10 hours, sometimes studying on a Tuesday and Wednesday, before I head into the week. If I'm not feeling it, I'll go out for a walk. I'll go run an errand. You got to be in the right frame of mind. So that's very, very important. Once I get in a good frame of mind, I go 3-4 hours, have something to eat, and then come back and keep going. So, if you're not in the right headspace, take a break, do something different, then come back to it.
Absolutely. And here's the pick for tonight. For me, I'm going to take the Connecticut Sun in the first quarter. They're, depending on where you look, +2.5, +3 against the LA Sparks. Now, here are the reasons. Number one, LA has been on fire. They've won 7 of 8. They're coming off 2 big wins in double overtime at Seattle. They just beat Indiana a few nights ago at home. But now this feels like the letdown spot with Connecticut. The Sun, they are the worst team in the WNBA. We'll put that out there. But Connecticut has played LA twice this year. They've lost both times. However, in the first quarter each time, they've had their 2 highest scoring games in the first quarter of the season, scored 30 and 27 against LA. Also, on the Sparks side, here's some bad numbers for them in the first quarter. Off a game win, they are 3-9 ATS in the first quarter the next game. So they get off to slow starts. Also, they're 2-6 against the spread in the first quarter in their last 8 at home. And LA has not been very good covering spreads at home in the first quarter. I just think that Connecticut, after they trailed Phoenix 26-6 after 1 the other night, they'll come out with a better effort tonight. And we're going to go with the Sun tonight in the first quarter against the Sparks. Little letdown, late night action out in LA, Lee.
So I have 3 thoughts here. That's interesting. Yeah. You were talking about all that. First, I want to know, how did Connecticut come up with the name the Sun? I don't think of Sun when I think about Connecticut. Am I correct?
Yes. The only thing I can say offhand here, I know they play at the Mohegan Sun in
that's got to be it. Okay.
I wonder if that has to do with it. Yeah. So that's
I think it is. I think they used to play their games there, correct?
I believe they're still there, but then there's rumors now they're going to be moving to Boston in the next year. I think the Celtics owner is moving them. I mean, it's not far. Okay. But still. Okay. So what's your next question?
Okay.
That was it. That was the only.
Second one is, I'm thinking when you're talking about how they're having trouble, the Sparks after a win. Maybe, it's like the Lakers back in the day when they used to win the parties with Jerry Buss and Magic after the game. So that was quite a spectacle. Went to a couple of games with a friend, and the parties down there, they've had some party rooms back in the Forum where they went on for many hours after the game. So maybe, something about LA and winning games in the next game. They're not sharp to start the game. And I'm rooting for you hard here. If you don't win this, we're going to call this play your buried treasure. So let's get it done.
I swear, if this one gets squeezed again, Lee, I'm not going to be happy. If there's another silly thing that happens at the end of this game, or at the end of the first quarter, but we'll see how it turns out. So let's now move to UFC Fight Night, and Lee's been excellent with UFC, and let's go with some bet a little, win a lot.
They say you'll miss 100% of the shots you don't take, so bet a little, win a lot.
Lee's been on fire with the UFC as Fight Night in Vegas coming up on Saturday. Lee, what do you have in the octagon?
All right, so this is a fight where if you're normally a $100 better, you can bet $50. And because the fighter I'm taking is plus 200, you win 100. So if you're normally, let's say, a $500 better, you can bet $250 and it's going to return $500. So we had been on an absolute roll. We had won 4 or 5 straight. We dropped both fights last weekend. Both were decisions. Both fighters that I was backing didn't fight a great fight. Thought one of the guys was going to be able to take down his opponent. do ground and pound, just couldn't take him down. So you got to give the other fighter that they're fighting some credit too. Fought a little bit better than we anticipated. And we lost 2 decisions. It's not like we got knocked out. So I don't know how this is going to go. I don't know who's going to win which round. But Christian C-Rod, this is not one of the greatest nicknames, Christian Rodriguez C-Rod, who's 27 years old and 24-12 in overall and 5-2 in his last 7 in the UFC, is laying 245 against Andre, one of the greatest nicknames in UFC history, Touchy Feely. So Feely is 35, whereas Rodriguez is 27. I don't think he's too old. You know, he does train at a great place. He trains at Team Alpha Male. He's 24-12 overall. Maybe the reason he's as big an underdog as he is because he's 3-3 in the last 6 in the UFC. But he has a couple distinct advantages here. He's 5'11" with a 74-inch reach. Rodriguez, C-Rod, is 5'7" with a 71-inch reach. So I can't see C-Rod subbing or knocking him out. If that's the case, then we're going to have 3 hard-fought rounds here, a lot of kickboxing taking place. And I just think that Feely here is a little sharper and a little better with his boxing. C-Rod is going to have to push the pace to win, hold him up against the cage here. And I doubt that's going to phase Feely here. I just think Feely's going to land more punches. I think it's going to go to a decision. I see Feely winning 2 of the 3 rounds here at plus 200. I'm going with it. So we're going to go with a bet a little, win a whole lot here on Andre Touchy Feely, plus 200 against C-Rod, Christian Rodriguez, UFC Fight Night on Saturday night.
Yeah, and Lee's definitely been hitting a lot of winners in the UFC, so we'll see if that keeps up coming up on Saturday as UFC back in Vegas for Fight Night. Speaking of Vegas, the Raiders taking on the Seahawks as NFL preseason tonight with 3 games. We're going to preview that game coming up. You are listening to Locked On Bets. We return here, Locked On Bets. Kevin Rogers and Lee Sterling of Paramount Sports with you. And as you heard before the break there, Lee, I will say this, even though maybe he's not what he was 30 years ago, I was a huge fan of Chris Berman. I really was. I loved him. I loved NFL Primetime. Huge fan of his. I know kind of like over the years that the act wore tired, but there are times I watch the NFL and I say, the Raiders! Like, you just see that. And look, it's a new day for them, in a sense. With Pete Carroll going there, they get Geno Smith, and we'll see how they fare. It is your lock tonight, and we'll transition to the Raiders and the Seahawks.
Open it, open it, open it! Lee has the key to the lock of the day.
I think before you get to your analysis, I think it is a new day for them with Tom Brady now more of a face there, and we don't know what he's doing on the inside with that franchise, and getting Pete Carroll after Josh McDaniels. You had all these other guys that just didn't work out as the head coach. Even you had John Gruden there for a minute. You brought him back. It didn't work out. But what do you see here with the Raiders? I know we talked about them a few weeks ago with their season preview, but specifically tonight in Pete Carroll's return to Seattle against the Seahawks.
Yeah, so one of the hardest things I think for players and coaches to do is know when to step down. I'm not saying that Pete Carroll didn't have anything left. I just think it had gone stale there. The whole relationship, him with the front office, and not saying he was bored. You know, he has a lot of energy, but they needed a new voice, and I think they made a good decision, believe it or not, to let him go. But I still think he has something left. Is he, a 5-6 year plan for the Vegas? No, but maybe 3-4 years tops. He can turn them around, get them to the playoffs where they're competing, and I'm not saying playing for a chance to win the Super Bowl, but at least get in the playoffs, and they haven't even come close to that. So I do believe that he is one of the guys you want to back in preseason. Why? 22-10 lifetime record in preseason. Doesn't get much better than that. He's going to be motivated facing his old team and old franchise in Seattle. So he'll be jumping around here. Now, he has a backup quarterback who's going to play most of the game, or at least half, in Aiden O'Connell. And from all the reports I'm getting, and I got some people who go to a lot of their practices, at least 3/4 of them, they say he looks incredible. So he has something to prove here. I'm not saying he is a top-line starter, but he might be one of the top 2 or 3 backups in the NFL. So with him looking sharp, he's got something to prove in case, there's an injury to Geno Smith. He can come in and do the job. He can play for 4 or 5 games and win you 3 out of 5. I think he's a guy you want to look at. On the other side, even though Jalen Milroe's look good, they're running skeleton drills. And skeleton drills, a lot of times there's no pass rush and guys look good. What's going to happen with Jalen Milroe when he faces NFL defenses? He's not going to be able to find that second and third target. So he will pull the ball down, try to run the football, sometimes good, sometimes bad, an interception, or throws it when he's trying to run, or he fumbles could take place here. So I also think that Vegas is going to play many more of their starters a little bit longer in Seattle. So with something to prove here, I think Pete Carroll, and also the fact that he's a preseason coach, is a team you want to back here. So you got to lay 4.5 points on the road. You're thinking, wow, home team plus a field goal preseason. Don't fall for the trap. We're going to go with a level 3 lock on a Thursday, all the way up. Las Vegas Raiders and Pete Carroll, they get the job done. They're going to win the game by a touchdown or more in Seattle to start preseason.
What were your thoughts, Lee, with Jalen Milroe, the transition from Nick Saban to then Kalen DeBoer? Do you think there was a drop-off there in his final year in Alabama, not having Saban there, or just how did you assess all that?
Yeah, I think he had grown tired. I'm hearing some talk this week, maybe that he'll come back. I don't see it. So, yeah, I think that Alabama is going to be fine. I think Kalen DeBoer is a really good coach. Excellent coach, and also a good recruiter, maybe not Nick Saban-esque, and Nick Saban's staff was maybe a touch better, but Alabama's Alabama. I mean, the tradition there, it's gotten a little bit tougher adding Texas and now Oklahoma. Looks like can certainly be a contender this year, but I think they're going to be just fine. But Alabama had the greatest run ever in college football.
Now, back to the Raiders for a second. Aiden O'Connell, you mentioned, he's seen time. He's played in regular season games, and that's the difference of when you see some of these other teams throwing guys out with their first opportunity in the NFL. This guy's played in meaningful games, so it should benefit the Raiders, at least for a bit tonight.
Yeah, he's played in meaningful games. He's played with a much less talented cast. He's going to have a much better talented cast. Their line gets better and better. They finally have a big-time running back. They didn't want to pay Josh Jacobs, but Ashton Genty is something special. I mean, you watch the video of him in practice, and, I mean, he just runs right by people and over people. So I think he's going to have a really good rookie year. So if you're also playing fantasy football, running backs, you can draft them as rookies because they can come on. Receivers the other way around. Very rarely do rookie receivers come out and catch balls, have 8 or 10 touchdowns and 1,300 to 1,500 yards.
Yeah, we'll see if Genty could be like that next Derrick Henry or someone like that who really can be a dominating running back. We know what the running back position has become over the last few years. Lee, what is going on with Paramount Sports? There are 3 games tonight in the NFL. Friday, Saturday is a full slate in the NFL preseason. So what do you have going on at Paramount Sports?
So we're going to call it Super Saver Weekend, and we won't have this coming up once the season starts, so you might want to take advantage of it. 3 football selections in the exhibition season, normally $33, and we won 6 of the last 8 years in the preseason. Just not $33 if you use coupon code SAVE30, lowercasing SAVE and the number 30. Do not put a space between the word and the number, SAVE 30 in the checkout box, just $3. 3 games, $3. Are you kidding me? And in the UFC, 6 selections, normally $26. If you use coupon code SAVE20, how about this? Just $6 for 6 selections in the UFC. So 3 football selections Friday through Sunday, $3 with coupon code SAVE30. And we also got 6 selections in the UFC. If you use coupon code SAVE20, just $6, just one place, ParamountSports.com.
And you can also find us again on YouTube, Locked On Bets. And please like and subscribe to our videos. We greatly appreciate it. And if you listen to the podcast, you can find it on your favorite audio platform. Please don't forget to leave a review and leave a rating. And we are appreciative of that as well. One day left in the week. Coming up on Friday, we'll have more football to preview as well as we look ahead to the weekend. For Lee Sterling, I am Kevin Rogers. Thank you so much for watching Locked On Bets and listening to us as well right here on the Locked On Podcast Network.